Hello everyone, today I'm going to interview an old friend of mine who was an expat. His name is Gökhan. Could you introduce yourself?
My name is Gökhan. I live in Belgium and I'm 24 years old.
So you worked abroad for how many years?
I worked 2 years.
2 years. And what company was it? Was it like a local business or?
It was basically a local garage I used to work on.
And what was the reason that you went to Turkey?
So basically, my family had financial issues. I had to go to Turkey. I helped them for 2 years basically, and until they were stable financially, and then I came back.
And then you came back. What about a religion? I know Turkey is like a religious country, a Muslim country. Was it difficult to adapt to it?
In Turkey, religion, it's a religious country, obviously, but people don't really mind. Everyone respects each other. It's totally fine. I mean, I'm also a Muslim, so I was kind of used to it, so it was fine.
Where did you stay? Did you stay with your family? Did you rent an apartment, or was it even expensive, renting an apartment?
I mean, the place I worked on was when you hire, apartments, was kind of expensive. I stayed with my family, obviously, and obviously I went there to help them. So I kind of need to save money as well. So.
And what about your friends that you left behind? I mean, at the end of the day, you were born and raised here, as you said, and was it difficult to just say, all right, I'm going to Turkey to help my family out? How did you even stay in touch with your friends?
It was very difficult at first because you leave everything behind. It's almost like a new life, When I went to Turkey, I missed all the even the small things, the things we did. I used to do with my friends, and you go there it's like a complete another life.
Total different life.
It was kind of difficult at first, but after a few months, you kind of get used to it. So,
going to Turkey, was it difficult to maintain your lifestyle?
Yeah. So basically, I worked 6 days a week. In Belgium, I didn't work 6 days a week, so it was kind of I had to adapt. It was a lot of stress. And first, I used to go to the gym, and I couldn't really go anymore. So I used to work a lot of overtime as well. So basically, I work, I go home, I eat, and I sleep. Yeah.
And your overtime, did you get paid or?
Overtimes? No, actually, I didn't get paid.
You didn't get paid?
No, it was a daily thing, in Turkey. You get paid for instance, 100, and if you do overtimes, it's still 100. And the boss was kind of difficult, to handle, he was kind of stubborn,
Was he now that you talked about your boss, was he very approachable?
In my case, my boss was he was a nice person, but if the only rule that he had was no mistakes, right?
No.
So he had this mentality where you can't have any mistakes.
From what I've heard, there was more work pressure, this had to be done today, because you said that you do a lot of overtime, so it must be a lot of pressure.
Sometimes when I went home from work, I used to instantly think, tomorrow, what am I going to do tomorrow? I had a lot of pressure because some cars, they need to get finished that day, and sometimes it's just too much, but it had to get done. So.
What about your colleagues? Did you interact after work?
I didn't really interact after work with my colleagues. With my boss, I did, but it was just about the work, and we kind of planned out the next day sometimes. What we're gonna do, how we're gonna do, and as far as the other colleagues, we didn't really interact. It was just
everybody does what he does.
Exactly.
How did you actually find a job?
I asked a couple of garages, and the first thing they asked, obviously, do you have experience? And I said yes. I worked a couple of years, so they tested me and they liked me, and I worked there.
Would you do it again if you had the opportunity
to work there again?
Maybe a different country or just in Turkey?
it's kind of hard to say. I mean, um, it was a nice experience, but the only thing I didn't like was to leave everything behind.
What advice would you give someone? Let's say I'm going to Turkey and I'm going to. What advice would you give?
The first advice I will give is not to overthink things. You know, it's no one is gonna make fun of you there. So like, I used to be like kind of paranoid because I used to think like I didn't know really anything, the culture and everything. So I kind of thought like I'm gonna be embarrassed in some way. I don't know.
Make mistakes.
Yeah, make mistakes, but it's totally fine. I mean, we're all humans, so it was totally fine. Don't overthink and just relax. Like,
And as my final question to like end the interview, what would you like? Would you recommend it? Was it like an eye-opening experience?
oh yeah, I definitely recommend like going to a new place and working. It's like a complete different. It's like a complete different life. I mean, I think everyone has to do it once. It's like something. If you don't do it, you miss so much. You know, it was very awesome, and in some cases it was difficult to adapt, but it was very nice.
Okay, so that was the interview. So thank you for
You're
taking
welcome.
the time.